Oh, straight into the roof of the net. Nice one. Straight down the middle. So a good performance.
Hi, welcome to First Sports. I'm Rupha Ramani. Let's get started. On the show today, India cricket team head coach Gautam Gambhir rubbishes all talks of bias towards India, asking all commentators and players to stop cribbing and grow up now that India's made it to the Champions Trophy final. Steve Smith, meanwhile, makes a shocking admission and then announces his retirement from ODI cricket. India seals its spot at the Champions Trophy final, but we bring you all the buzz from behind the ropes. Pakistan, meanwhile, has done the predictable yet again. One more horrific ICC tournament exit means yet another shake-up. What has happened this time, and is this going to do them any good? And in the world of football, Vinicius Jr. sings a completely different tune this time, says he's very happy at Madrid. Does this mean his demands have been met, and is the rift between him and the other star player Mbappe reportedly over? More on that in the show, but first a look at the headlines on Sports 360. We'll start with football. Arsenal beat PSV 7-1 in the Champions League round of 16 first leg. Arsenal had 6 different scorers in a match where Martin Odegaard scored a brace. Meanwhile, Japanese football icon Yuki Nagasato has announced her retirement from the sport. The forward played a vital role in Japan's lone World Cup win in 2011 and the Olympic silver in 2012. While Nagasato played in Germany, Britain and America, she's best remembered for featuring in the men's team at Hayabusa 11 in Japan's second-tier football. In a heartwarming gesture in tennis, women's world number 4 Jessica Pegula flew Austin Open finalist to California in her private jet. After winning the singles title, Pegula hung around for the doubles finalists. Given the time crunch to make it to the Indian Wells tournament next, the American player offered to fly all of them together. The main draw for the Indian Wells begins tomorrow. And summing it up with news from basketball, Los Angeles Lakers star LeBron James became the first player in NBA to score 50,000 points. The forward achieved this feat during Lakers' clash against Orleans Pelicans. During the game, James scored 34 points to help his side register a 136 to 115 points win. Redemption, revenge, resurrection seems to be some of the words that generally sum up the mood from last night after India beat Australia to make it to the ICC Champions Trophy final. KL Rahul's visceral celebrations, Gautam Gambhir's fiery post-match press conference, Steve Smith, the captain of the opposition, the Australian team, making a huge admission, and then, of course, calling it quits from ODI cricket. Virat Kohli steering a run chase. It seemed like India had turned back time. But before we get to all of that, let's bring you what the internet thought of this victory. Australia, a cricketing side in general, is one that Indian fans love to see being beaten. And now more so after the humiliating 2023 ODI World Cup win, where Pat Cummins vowed to silence the crowds there and did. And the horrific Border Gavaskar series that saw India being in all sorts of trouble on and off the field. So this face-off, although just a semi-final, was the biggest clash in this tournament, and the internet went to town with their memes. But the real fiery stuff came from the head coach Gautam Gambhir, not too surprising there too, but he was a man under fire, especially after a dismal series against Australia that India had just lost 1-4. So there was a lot on the line here. And even during the tournament, India was being accused of being given preferential treatment by the ICC and by just about everybody, which Gambhir put an end to at the post-match press conference.
What undue advantage? We are practicing at the ICC Academy. The conditions there and at the Dubai International Stadium are completely different. Some people are perpetual cribbers, man. They've got to grow up.
People are perpetual cribbers and they've got to grow up. Really strong words there. Gambhir telling every single opposition and non-Indian commentator who pointed fingers at India having a slight advantage over the rest, that India were finalists because they deserved to be there, not because they had any advantage over the rest. It's because they just played better cricket than most of the other sides. And guess who agreed with whatever Gambhir said? The opposition team captain, Steve Smith, put to rest every little objection that many had been making, including his own teammate Pat Cummins, by admitting that India outplayed Australia fair and square.
I'm not buying into it. I think it is what it is. The surface kind of suits their style. They played well, they outplayed us, and they deserve the victory.
And then promptly proceeded to retire from ODI cricket hours later. Definitely a loss to international cricket. Australia played some intimidating cricket under Smith's leadership. But unfortunately, it'll end up being one that was tainted by a bad call against South Africa in a test match. That's what you'd remember most at the end of this one. But coming back to the game last night, you could see what this win really meant for each and every person in that Indian squad. It was a solid performance by Virat Kohli in the run chase till he chose to swing, losing his wicket. Shreyas Iyer had a good start. Hardik Pandya took the pressure off with some blows, and KL Rahul rightfully finished off the game. He was pumped up and everyone knew how crucial his cameo was. More importantly, India made sure they replied to all the complaints and accusations with their performance on the field. One more hurdle awaits, the big final, which is on the 9th of March. A win would mean the resurrection of Indian men's cricket team after what has been a tough last few months. A loss and they live to fight again. Either ways, a big weekend awaits us all. Another ICC event, another embarrassing exit, but one thing remains a constant: Pakistan Cricket Board's reaction and response to it. After every failed campaign, the PCB seemed to have just one answer: chop and change, drop and blame. Pakistan announced squads for their upcoming New Zealand tour, comprising 5 T20 internationals and 3 one-dayers. A series that's starting in just 10 days. Very less time to even let the feeling of distress sink in and react. And yet, here we are again with Pakistan and their knee-jerk reactions. While Pakistan's ODI setup looks fairly similar to their Champions Trophy squad, the T20 lineup has seen some dramatic changes. It's a new-look T20 side, a very young one with 3 uncapped players. But the major difference is in the leadership. The team will be led by Salman Ali Agha, bringing an end to a rather brief stint that was led by Captain Mohammad Rizwan. Rizwan wasn't just axed as captain, but has been dropped entirely from the T20 format. And Rizwan isn't the only player who's faced the axe. Babar Azam has been dropped too. The omission of 2 of the most senior players doesn't come as a shocker, though. This is Pakistan cricket. For the past 2 years, the country seems to have just one solution when tackling problems and an ever-evolving cricketing landscape. One solution that they feel will bring a change to their fortunes. They either axe the management or the coaching staff or start afresh with new leadership and a brand new setup. Like that will immediately arrest the slump that has been going on for around 2 years now. But unlike past instances, this time what's different is that the cricket board has given their reasoning to these changes.
We wanted to pick a young team which will be able to adjust to the ever-evolving nature of T20s and play fearless cricket. Since there will be quite a few big events lined up, we wanted to build a new team under the captaincy of Salman.
Now, it is understandable because there is also the Asia Cup later this year, which is going to be played in the T20 format, and the T20 World Cup that comes up the next year. So Pakistan are seemingly gearing up for the next phase. But knowing Pakistan and how they deal with cricket crisis, how long is that next phase going to be is anybody's guess. So the two players to be scrutinized for their lack of intent and application were these two senior-most players in the side, Babar Azam and Mohammad Rizwan. So Pakistan believes this new young squad will bring a fresh perspective and bring a more attacking intent onto the cricket field.
This is a young team and we want to play fearless cricket. That is high-risk cricket, which is a requirement in modern cricket. There will be failures with that approach, but we have to support our players.
But is dropping their best player for some years now, and one of the senior-most players in the side, Babar Azam, and a leader who was appointed just 4 months ago, the right solution? And the statement by the newly appointed captain here highlights the biggest issue that's plaguing Pakistan cricket constantly. He agreed that the team needs to play an attacking brand of cricket, but the players would need support from the management, a support they clearly didn't extend to the likes of Babar and Rizwan, because quite clearly changes have come in the aftermath of a horrible Champions Trophy campaign, a tournament where the hosts were knocked out in the group stages without winning a single match. Rizwan had only captained Pakistan in 4 T20 internationals. He was brought in to lead the side in a phase where captaincy in the country seemed like a relay race, a baton that had been passed on from Babar to Shaheen Shah Afridi and then Babar again. So appointing Rizwan was intended to make this more stable, but clearly that approach didn't last long either. And it isn't just about the captaincy role. These are two of their most senior players who've been part of the core for the past decade. These players are Pakistan's top 2 run-getters in the T20 format. Babar is the second highest run scorer in T20 history, only 8 runs behind Rohit Sharma, who leads the chart. Rizwan is 7th in the all-time list. And I understand their strike rates might be on the lower side, but they were the anchors of that batting lineup. The attack would come from other batters. The reason why India won the T20 World Cup last year was because they had senior men like Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli who lent their experience to that side. They had a system in place, unlike Pakistan, who seemed to be all over the place. Even India's 2007 T20 World Cup winning squad went in with young players, yes, but that team also had the services of the experienced Virender Sehwag and Gautam Gambhir, players who had international exposure under a young leader who looked promising. And here Pakistan have appointed a captain who hasn't even led the side in neither first-class cricket nor in their domestic league. Every transformation in cricket needs a plan. Even when it is about a team and not the role of a captain, you need a handover, a smooth transition. There has always been an idea of making the best player the leader or a player with captaincy experience. Does Salman fit in any of this? Or is it just another chop-and-change pit stop waiting for a few defeats to again be taken to the slaughterhouse? Real Madrid, one of the biggest clubs in the world, has represented the core of football for years, brilliance, dominance and a place for silverwares. But the club now seems to have stepped up in another department too. They are also becoming the home for all the off-field drama that's being associated with the sport. Ugly scandals, feuds, rifts are echoing through the walls of Santiago Bernabeu. For months now, there were reports of their star forward Vinicius Jr. being unhappy at the club, leading to speculations that the Brazilian might leave for a more lucrative Saudi Arabia offer. And at the center of these rumors has been a growing rift surrounding Vinicius and, of course, their star player Kylian Mbappe. But has the feud ended, with Vinicius eagerly waiting to renew his contract?
I'm very calm because my contract lasts until 2027 and I hope to renew my contract as soon as possible because I am happy here. I'm living the dream of playing with the best players in the world, the best coach, the best president, the best fans. Here everybody loves me so much. I couldn't be in a better place.
Quite a change in tone from Vinicius, because if the footballer was really happy and feeling that he's playing with the best players in the world, how does he justify these reactions? Now, it wasn't just Vinicius' behaviour that led to these ugly speculations. Many media outlets even claimed that the Brazilian was demanding an equal pay similar to what the club was dishing out to Mbappe. In simpler words, he wasn't too thrilled about Mbappe getting paid more than he was, a sign of things not being all too well in Madrid's front line. But with Vinicius now looking to extend his contract as soon as possible, has Madrid ended the whole drama by agreeing to Vinicius' conditions? Maybe not entirely. Sure, having a healthy environment where two of their best are happy is always the best possible way to go about things. But can these two really work in one setup? The recent results say otherwise. Real Madrid won their Champions League round of 16 first leg against city rivals Atletico 2-1. But what the club expected from their star players, Vinicius and Mbappe, to put on a show, that is, was actually delivered by a 25-year-old Ibrahim Diaz. A win nonetheless, but a game where two of their best were more or less absent, raising alarm bells for the future.
It always is against Atleti. In the first half, we lost too many balls. We had unnecessary losses, and Julian scored. It went well in the first play, and then we lost patience. We pushed hard. Yet it was not the idea to press, but to be compact.
While Ancelotti pointed out the whole team's failure, he kept defending Mbappe and Vinicius' lackluster performance.
Playing against Atletico's defense isn't straightforward. Mbappe and Vinicius didn't have many chances. They had one at the end where they could have done better, but they worked hard and they fought. They didn't show the quality they have, but they have the return leg to do that.
The internet, though, didn't go on too easy on the high-paid superstars. Which raises the question, did Madrid do the right thing by making Vinicius so happy that he wants to stay? Now, the reason why I say this, now these are two players in the prime of their careers, arguably the best in the business today, stars in one club, but competing for one single spot. Sure, Madrid have changed the role for Mbappe by making him play more central, but that's because Vinicius is playing at the left, a position Mbappe prefers. So there will always be unsaid tussle, and Mbappe's natural instinct will be to go left, which in turn will lead to only one of them succeeding. So the question is this situation entirely favourable for Madrid, especially when neither of them created much magic last night? Sure, they are a team of Avengers, the best in every department, but there can only be one Iron Man or one Hulk. Two in the same role might just lead them down the path to self-sabotage. Whatever the management did to try and bridge the differences between Mbappe and Vinicius, how long will that solution really last? And is that going to spell success for this club? Time for last serve. Downhill urban mountain bike racing saw an action-packed close finish in Chile. From unique tricks to crashes. Take a look. That wraps it up here on Firstpost. I'll of course see you again tomorrow. Till then, do take care. This is bye-bye.
Merci beaucoup. Hi, how are you?
Very well, thank you.
Thank you for being here.
Namaste, Mr. President.
Bharat Kelogan, Komeri Namaste.
How many people generally follow you in interviews?
Typically, in a month, we have viewers up to 150 million. That's more than twice the population of France. And in the last 2 years, we had 3 billion viewers. So I say, Lohon, this is your chance to be famous. You're on Firstpost. One word to describe your equation with Prime Minister Modi.
Amitié.
As India and France work together, are you creating a new era of non-alignment in the technology space?
India is a training superpower. 1 million engineers a year, more than all of Europe and the US combined. So we have that partnership. We have a partnership on the environment and the economy. We also have civilian nuclear programs, and that is something we've developed far beyond the France-India relationship. So we want to work together on AI.
And then comes China with its DeepSeek, creating models at a fraction of the cost. Did that innovation take you by surprise? Did that breakthrough make you sit up and think, what did the Chinese do and how?
But what did DeepSeek do? They took everything that was already available from the last AI model, and then they recalibrated it.
So are you going to ban Chinese AI in France?
So we don't have this American approach of banning tech because of where it comes from.